Hello there, you amazing viewers and subscribers. Welcome to a brand new review for today, and it's going to be on Star Trek Voyager Season 3. So a bit before I get into this season, I'm going to explain how I'm doing this review, because I've actually got, as you see behind me, and I'm just going to grab it, Star Trek Voyager, The Complete Journey on DVD. So I've finished watching Season 3, I'm in the middle of Season 4 right now. I've just finished watching the Year of Hell episode, but both parts, which is absolutely great. I'm quite looking forward to reviewing Season 4. But let me just say this, Star Trek Voyager Season 3 is where it kicks off a lot of things going on. I normally find Season 2 and 1 a bit boring in Star Trek Voyager's case. I've got some enjoyable episodes. I've say it's a lot better than some of the episodes in the early Deep Space Nine range. If I was to do a comparison, Voyager Season 1 and 2 would be a lot higher than Deep Space Nine's, really. So I might do that actually in a future video. How do I rank each season of Star Trek? Do I like from Enterprise, which is the least weakest and stuff? Might have to do that. That might be interesting to do. So anyway, before getting to the review of Season 3, there's some stuff I'm going to say about this, what I liked about this season and stuff. So this season we come to, basically this is the last season with Kirsty Ocampo, because she does leave in Season 4 in Episode 2, which is known as The Gift. But this is the main last full season of being in Voyager. So how do they treat her for this season? They end her relationship with Neelix, which is pretty much okay, because their two's relationship was a bit odd in the first place. And of course we see a broming romance between Tom Paris and Belong Torres. That does envelop from Season 3, and then Season 4, 5 and 6. Well, Season 3 and 4, they're like in a relationship. Well, 3 is the beginning of it, 4 they get into a relationship, and then they get married in Season 5. 6 and 7 is when they're just literally married and having a baby by the time Voyager ends. But I will do a bit more talk about that near the time. So I like certain episodes of Star Trek Voyager, so I'm going to talk about the first episode, which is Burlisk Part 2. So after Seska and the Kazon basically abandoned Voyager, leaving the crew on an abandoned rogue planet in the early stage of the planet's evolution, Voyager and the crew, like Captain Janeway, are there, and anyway, one by one they like get eaten. A crew member gets eaten by a creature, and you have these kind of like cavemen, alien creatures there on the planet as well, that basically kidnap Kes and Neelix, and Chakotay saves one of them from the fire. While Voyager's on this planet, the Kazon are there in Voyager trying to repair all the ship systems, like Seska. Seska was basically, I'm trying to read my notes here. Like Seska, she's working with the Kazon, so she's literally telling them how to repair Voyager. But unaware, there is 2 people on there, which is the Doctor as a hologram, who's absolutely helping try and disable Voyager with the help of Suta, who is basically, Suta is actually a good character. He did kill somebody in the early Season 2, and then he dies at the end of this episode by Kazon. I have to say, I do love this. I do like Mr. Suta. He is a great character, and I just realised he is played by the person who does the voice of one of my favourite horror films, Chucky, the Killer Doll. He does the voice. The person who does the voice of Chucky was actually in Star Trek Voyager, and that's the one thing I never realised until I watched it and I was watching the credits. Like, hang on a minute, I swear that's the voice who does Chucky. Yeah, my God, Chucky was in Star Trek Voyager. Ooh. Anyway, Flashback is another good episode. I absolutely love Flashback. It's good to see the events of Star Trek 6 told in another perspective. Not like, say, Star Trek 6 is basically told in like Kirk and McCoy's personal review, where in this episode it is Tuvok under the command of Sulu. And Catherine Janeway is just there. And when you see Janeway wearing the old uniforms, it actually suits her a lot better than the 24th century uniforms. I wish they would have kept them in, because it does suit Janeway really, really well. I've actually got a little figurine of Janeway wearing the 23rd century uniforms. I'm just going to go and grab that, actually. Yeah. This is what I meant. I literally have a little figure here of Catherine Janeway in the uniforms from the late 23rd century, early 24th century, and his suits are absolutely a lot better than the others. So yeah, that's the bit I'm talking about. I do quite enjoy Flashback. It's great to see Sulu and the crew of the Excelsior battling against Klingons and them touring below why they are going in to rescue Captain Kirk. The cult is in kind of a good episode where basically Kim and Tom Paris are accused of a crime, and they end up having this little thing on top of their head that manipulates them, bringing out the anger and the aggressive. And so the Swarm is another good episode. I quite enjoyed that one. I love the bit with the Voyager going through the Swarm. I have to say that's got some good visual effects. False Prophets. Now this one I absolutely love, because in the Next Generation episode, in about season 3, you kind of see Picard in the Enterprise basically doing like a survey thing for the Federation, orbiting a little wormhole that is stable in the Alpha Quadrant, but it isn't stable in the Delta Quadrant. And then when you see that, like at the end of the episode, you see a Ferengi shot over two Ferengi basically end up vanishing through the wormhole, and Picard and the crew just leave it like that. Voyager goes around, finds these damn stupid Ferengi that were actually sent there, and you know, how can I say, they are literally scumming in the planet. They are printing the rules of acquisition. No, I've got the rules of acquisition for the Ferengi, and to be honest with you, the rules I think are absolutely absurd. I mean, there's like some here saying peace is good for business, and then you got one saying war is good for business. So war or peace are good for business, so you never know that. But the Ferengi do get sent back to the Alpha Quadrant because of the Voyager team. Unfortunately, Voyager did try to follow it quick, but it vanished just before. Now, remember is the next episode, filled up with the Void dreams, leading to Taurus having incredible memories. Now, that one I do find a bit boring. Scareground is where Kez is basically under control from an alien. No, sorry, that's the later one. Sorry, I got that one mixed up. I'm trying to read my writing. Kess is basically unconscious by an energy field in an alien shrine. Janeway sets up a load to try and save her life, which is basically an okay episode. Not much enjoyable. Future Ends Part 1 and 2 are absolutely epic. I love this. So you have the 29th century people coming back and trying to erase Voyager because they find a whole debris, which basically ends up sending the crew through a portal back to 1996, where you have this kind of an idiot lunatic. Basically, he wants to use their technology so he can get to the future, steal their technology, and say he's invented it in a load of eras earlier. I absolutely love it. It actually shows why time must not be messed around with, and the crew of Voyager do a lot of great stuff in this two-parter. I absolutely love this two-parter. I love the whole design of the 29th Federation ship. Warlord is next. Now, this is the one I was actually going to talk about, and I realised I've got the episodes mixed up. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read my writing. Following the death of an alien body, Kess is possessed by the alien Warlord, and he actually uses her body and telekinetic powers. And basically, it's really great to see the actress who plays Kess in another perspective. So she's trying to play Tyrion, this alien warlord. He's trying to battle people, and the Voyager crew interfere to get Kess back. The next episode is called The Q and the Grey. In this episode, we see Q, the highly magnificent, extravagant alien power that we encounter in The Next Generation, and of course in one episode of Deep Space Nine. In this episode, he wants to mate with Catherine Janeway so he can make a baby that has a bit of a human personality, human bits in it, so they can actually get the Q continuum at peace, because the Q continuum are at war with each other because of Quinn, the Q Quinn from season 2 I talked about from Death Wish. His death still has a massive effects for the Q continuum, so they start a civil war. And then you see Q mate with another Q, and they have a little baby played by John Leeson's, not John Leeson, that's Doctor Who, John D. Leese, something like that. It's actually a proper child. Microscope is a good another good episode for Voyager. Quite enjoy that. Fair Trade. This one I think is a bit stupid with Neelix trying to make a Talaxian friend, and they're trying to get all these parts of Voyager like from map, and Neelix does go behind Janeway's back, and he tells her that he feels like he's unsuitable because he doesn't know anything apart from beyond this massive area of space, which is again not as good as most people make out to be, but it's still an okay episode. Alter Ego is where we see Tuvok written as a holodeck character. Yeah, this is the one where Tuvok and Harry can end up falling in love with the same holodeck. But the holodeck gets a bit like too... what's the word? Obsessed. The hologram program gets a bit too obsessed with Tuvok. And it turns out that the hologram is being controlled by an alien who is lonely and, you know, so on. And she wants to make a bit of romance with Tuvok, and Tuvok just leaves it like that. Krona, after being attacked by Fadidians, Janeway and Chakotay find themselves alive against moments that create some sort of death loop. Yeah, this one they are in a time loop really, and it keeps repeating because of the Fardins, stuff like that. That the aliens that are being like dying because of this disease, and they go around stealing body parts out of other alien species so they can try and make their species survive, which is a bit one. Blood Forever, I have to say, this one actually did find quite enjoyable. This is where we see a Vulcan male trying to mate with Taurus to become wife. So because he's going through that stage in the Vulcan life, he's going through the Ponfar, which is the mating for the Vulcans. And Taurus ends up getting infected by him with this Porif, and this is where we kind of see B'Elanna and Tom Paris's relationship kind of blooming, especially when you're about to see Tom Paris is about to mate with B'Elanna just to try and get the Ponfar over, but the Vulcan ensign, it basically comes and squeezes it up and has a fight with Tom Paris, and then B'Elanna and the Vulcan ends up fighting as well, which is another good episode, and it's good to see a kind of another sort of relationship building out in this part of space. But also on this planet we are recovered by we see a kind of a skeleton Borg drone, which at the end of the episode, it's actually quite good to see a Borg drone skeleton. Even you see the organic, like the cyborg parts are still there, but the organic, you just have this skull from the remains, is absolutely quite a good, scary moment, but it's still enjoyable. Unity is next. I absolutely love this one, where you kind of see Chakotay end up on the planet being controlled by Borg, disconnected from the hive mind, and they're split into different factions. You've got ones that want peace, and then you've got the ones that hate each other and they want to kill each other. And we also meet a woman that was assimilated by the Borg at War 359. So, yeah, you got another reference to the Next Generation era at one point. I do have to say, I do like this episode. I like the way they like mind link with Chakotay to try and get them to create something in the Borg ship to help them not have a link with the rest of the planet. And then when Chakotay does actually do that, because he's under their control, the Borg cube comes to life, and Voyager's about to get assimilated, but the Borg the ex-Borg on the planet end up activating the self-destruct of the Borg cube. Darkling is where the Doctor is basically trying to have personality of different historian people, the dark sides of the people, and he goes around killing people. And it's a good way to see the Doctor kill people in a way for hologram. Quite enjoyable. Distant Origin. Now this one, I have to say, is a good episode. We are introduced to the Valve, which is 3OTH. Now this one is where we've actually found out they are like related to prehistoric dinosaurs that end up leaving the planet early because they got something happened to them. I can't remember what it was. And they're trying to hunt down Voyager because we have the same genetic structure, something like that, inside us that they need, and to find out they're related, and it causes up a big massive argument and stuff. Very good. Displays is where Janeway makes the startling discovery that her crew are being replaced by Another alien. Yeah, this one is where we see an alien race is trying to get hold of Voyager, so they're trying to swap places with Janeway's crew. And luckily, Janeway does get it back by transporting them off Voyager, saying that they want the ship back. So they do get Voyager back at the end, but it's still quite of a weird sort of episode, really. A transport can get through shields. I don't think anything could do that apart from the Jem'Hadar. So that was another good alien race. That's violence in season 3. Then we go to worst case scenario, where Tuvok created like a training program with the Maquis taking over Voyager, and Seska finds it, and just before she left Voyager, she literally messed it up, so it goes in her way, and it nearly kills Tuvok and Tom Paris. Again, it's great to see Seska back, even if it's a hologram version of Seska, because I did like Seska. She was like one of the favourite villains in Voyager. I like the way how she portrayed the crew, and then she like gets with the Kazon, and then she mates with a Kazon, and then she ends up having a Kazon baby. And then so on. So it's great to see Seska back. And then, of course, we go into Scorpion Part 1. And this episode is the return of the biggest villain in Trek history, the Borg. Yes, okay, we have already had an episode with Borg not gets the hive mind anymore. But this is the Borg, man. How do they bring back the Borg? And it's in a fantastic way, to be honest with you. They are at war with Species 8472. Species 8472 destroys 15 Borg vessels with one ship, by the looks of it. One ship destroys the Borg. And it's a great episode. And when you see Harry Kim get infected by Species 8472, where they literally just scratch his chest, and he goes, and he's there screaming, and then next minute you see him kind of go like this disease and stuff, which is basically attacking the blood cells of Harry Kim. I absolutely do like this episode, because not only does it give Janeway a way to try and get close to back to the Alpha Quadrant, she has to go through Borg space, through the Northway Passage, and that is clear of Borg activity anyway, because that's where you got a spatial fissure that's open to Species 8472, which we really find out in Part 2, so ignore all that, because that is going to be in the Season 4 talk. I absolutely do love this episode. I like the way Janeway is there saying there's going to be an alliance with the Borg and stuff, like she's trying to make an alliance, and they're being attacked by Species 8472 straight away. So that's mainly how it ended, with the Borg tractor beam in Voyager, and it just says to be continued. So that's the end of season 3. I do like season 3 of Star Trek Voyager. There are a lot going on. So by the events of Star Trek Voyager season 3, there are other Star Trek events going on. So round about this season, we are literally with season 3. Deep Space Nine is entering their 5th season, with just before the Dominion War starts and everything. So round about season 5 of Deep Space Nine, Voyager's on their 3rd season, and also around about this time we had the film Star Trek First Contact, with the Borg trying to invade Earth from the past and stopping Zafra Cochrane's warp fight, the Phoenix's ship flying, which basically is another reference in Star Trek Voyager. So I will say that another point as well. There's so much stuff I'd like to say. Again, I do like this season of Star Trek Voyager. I like the way how roundabout, because with the film First Contact, you had coming out at this point, and then like a few months later, the Borg are back in Voyager completely, because the Borg were actually a TNG villain, and when you see them in Voyager, they get a lot better, really. I like the Borg. I don't think there's any bad episodes of the Borg, apart from... I can't actually say, because I love every single episode of the Borg. They're my favourite villain. They're a lot better for me than the Klingons. Yeah. So, is there any more I can actually tell you about season 3 of Voyager I love? Not really. There are some good parts in Star Trek Voyager season 3. It's the season that kicks off Voyager, and this is where I think the viewings for Voyager ended up getting a lot higher than season 1 and 2. Because I know from what I've read on a few Star Trek stuff, the viewings were a lot down for Voyager in seasons 1 and 2. Some episodes had higher viewers, like The Caretaker. Some episodes didn't, but this is where Voyager just starts to get into its proper vibe. It gets into a brilliant stuff. It gets into great stuff. I absolutely love Voyager season 3. It's a lot better than season 1 and 2, but not the best, because we are coming up to the best seasons now. Because from season 3 up to season 7 are the best stuff for Voyager. So stay tuned and keep an eye out for Star Trek Voyager's review on season 3. So Let me know in the comments what you think of Star Trek Voyager Season 3. Is it one of your favourite seasons, like it is a good Trek series? I love it because, one, it introduces the Borg into to the crew of Voyager, and I really like it in Scorpion Part 1, where you see Janeway kind of doing like the impression of Picard, and then of another Starfleet captain who encountered the Borg. So that's another good part. I do have to say, I do love Star Trek Voyager. It's a really great episode, I do have to say. So join me next time for another Star Trek video. I hope you have a good day, and join me for a Doctor Who video either today or tomorrow. I'm going to try and sort this out with me filming schedules. So thank you for watching. Have a great day, and carry on being magnificent Trekkies. And let me know in the comments, what is your favourite episode from Voyager Season 3? Live long and prosper.